Well, good morning. Put on some headphones. All here. Mainly me. Even though I don't need to hear anything, I just need to be able to speak. See what's going on. Good morning, all. Good morning. Good morning. As they say, y'all come on in. Come on in. Let's see what we see here this morning. We really can go to the 15-minute candles. Not a whole lot happened. Let's see what happened on SPX yesterday. This was yesterday's price action, which really didn't do a whole lot of much. Didn't do much. Good morning, all. Good morning. Good morning. Ready for the market today? See what we got going on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's Thursday. The week is coming to a close. Anybody as excited about that as me? Got a lot that we got going on, a lot of balls in the air. We're focused on all kinds of things, trying to keep everything in our brains so that way we don't forget anything. A lot of moving parts going. Is that how it's going in your life? That you have a lot of moving parts and you're trying to keep all the balls in the air? And when you try to keep all the balls in the air, some balls are bound to not get kept in the air. Good morning, Sizzline and Nankali and Tanya. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you. Yeah, that's what happens. Try to keep it all together. But you know what? We have help. That's what I want you to know this morning is we have help. We got help to keep it all together this morning. Let me see if I feel like I've not updated this, or did I? Yes, I did update this, but let me make sure it's in here properly. Yeah. So let's start. Let's go ahead and get started. I believe I updated it. Yes, I did. Entire screen allow. This morning the VIX is at 13. It's at 13, a little bit higher than it was yesterday. I think it was 1250 yesterday. So it's at 13 this morning. Keep that in mind. Not that it's high, but when the VIX goes up, the market tends to go down a little bit. So keep that in mind. As far as Yahoo Finance, stocks due for a pause as S&P 500 nears the 5,000 mark. Yeah, crossing over the what people call psychological numbers causes some issue that you need to cross over these big numbers. It's almost like once you get over it, there's like point of no return, right? So 5,000, once you cross it, which I think it did yesterday, then the 5,000 becomes support now. It's no longer resistance. So support means it can bounce and then go the other way. So sometimes it's tough to get through those psychological numbers. If we look at yesterday, the high of yesterday was 4,999 and 89. That was the high yesterday. I'm not sure if y'all can see this. I want to put a box around it so that way you can see what I'm talking about. This up here, this area up here. When I go and when I put it on this candle, you can see where it says H4999.89. But the ES has gone over 5,000. So the SPX will go with it. It's trailing behind by about 20 points. So 4999.89. Talk about as close as you can get. It's only February, yes. Ocho, good morning. Deborah, good morning. Good morning, Lisa. Yeah, February this is where we're at. The year's got lots of promise. I sure hope, morning, Lady T. I sure hope you all are thinking about all the positive things that are set to come for this year, because 2024 has a lot of positivity built into it. It's not just, I mean, some people are really, um, you know, thinking about crypto and Bitcoin and those things, and I think those things are going to move too. So it's not. I'm not only talking about trading. I'm talking about an overall environment of if there's something in the atmosphere. For those who are spiritual, and if not, just abide me. But there is something in the atmosphere that is. There's an air of positivity and an air of abundance and positive outcomes is 2024. You can mark my words. Not saying that some stuff won't happen that'll be negative, but I believe that all things work together for the good. So even some of the not so good things work together for the good. Because if we think about, what are the ingredients for a cake? Well, there's sugar, there's flour, there's eggs, there's butter, right? Let's say those four ingredients. If you if you eat those things separately, they're going to be really nasty. Who eats a pound of butter like by itself? Who eats 3 cups of sugar, just straight sugar? Who eats 3 cups of flour? Who eats 6 eggs, just plain old eggs that you pop out at the refrigerator? Nobody. But when you take them and you mix them all up, choo, 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 and you mix and mix, and you put a little heat on it, put a little heat on it. You put it in a confined space. Come on now, somebody. And you put a little heat on it. Let it sit for a minute. The results of that nasty butter, nasty flour, nasty eggs, nasty sugar individually, but when you put them all together and mix them up and put a little heat on them, it yields a very delicious product. So that's what I'm saying. Everything that happens this year may not be positive by itself, but just know all of the pieces are coming together to yield a better product at the end, right? Good morning, Rasta. Good morning, Marcia. Good morning, Janae. And good morning, Anand. All right. Just know all of it, whatever it is, all of it is working together for your good. Okay. My hiking friend eats margarine to get energy when they run out of real food. Okay. I can get that. But people don't generally sit down and eat a pound of butter. Not generally. Okay. Listen, it's all working together. That's what I want you to deal with today and tomorrow and the next day. It's all working together. It's all working together. It don't feel good by itself, but it's all coming together to do what it needs to do. All right. That's why I say this year, I believe there's some positivity coming in for this year. You just need to receive it and then expect it. Receive it, expect it, and look for it. Expect it. Looking. If you expect somebody to come to your house, you're looking for them. You expecting somebody to come pick you up? You looking for them. You ain't sitting in your bedroom chilling out. You looking for them to come, right? You looking for them. So expect it. Look for it. Look for it. Whatever blessings we can find along the way. Look for them, right? We're not looking for the negatives because there's lots of those. We're looking for positives. Look for it. All righty. It says Disney pops after earnings beat. Clutch of the deals good. ARM soars 25% after surprisingly bullish forecast. I'm not sure what ARM is. U.S. futures are muted as S&P 500 closes on 5,000. Yes, that's a word I affirm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Amen. Eating butter. Nobody eats a pound of butter, not by itself. But listen, when you put that butter in that pound cake, Shoot, ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing like it. Lisa says yes. Yes, I see it for all of us. Thank you. hmm You gotta expect. We have to expect the positive, expect the good. And this is not just me being like, woo woo woo. I'm saying that your perspective makes a difference. Right. The pre-market Dow futures is down. It's green 0.05%. It's very almost flat. S&P futures 2 is down 0.10%, which is almost flat. So is NASDAQ futures down 0.10%. Almost all of these are, there's not really up or down. Stock futures are a little change with S&P 500 on the brink of 5,000. Audi 5000 G. Europe is mostly green. It's got a FTSE is red by 0.08%, which is very little. Everything else is green, so that probably going to be green too. And you got mostly green in the Asian markets as well. Hang Seng is the only one that's down 1.27. And interestingly, yesterday it was up and everything else was down. Nikkei at a fresh 34-year high. Prices in China continue to fall. Alibaba slides after results. Alibaba slides. Today's Thursday. So we're looking this morning at unemployment claims, which has already come in. Looks like unemployment claims came in at 218. They thought it was going to be 221. So it's a little bit lower than anticipated and about 9,000 lower than last time. FOMC member Barkin is speaking at 8:30. Wholesale inventories month over month is at 10 o'clock. Mortgage delinquencies says tentative. It says yellow folder. I think that probably needs to be orange. And if it's not orange now, it's going to turn orange because mortgage delinquencies is a thing. Just so you know, it's a thing. At 12:05, we've got FOMC member Barkin speaking. And at 1 o'clock, we've got a 30-year bond auction. So we do have some orange folders. Our red folder was this morning, but it was good news. So we may get some we had a good update yesterday. This was yesterday, right? This green day that popped over the gap that we said was here and then kept on moving. That was yesterday. Okay. I was trying to make it bigger so I can make my gap accurate because right now my gap's not accurate. Maybe that moves it. Nope, that's not what I wanted to move. Okay. S&P, it's opened yesterday at 49.73 and closed at 49.99. So that's about 26 points. So it's not a whole lot. I think it just feels big in comparison to the other candles, right? So no, this was last Friday. Last Friday candle was kind of large, but Monday and Tuesday, not so much. Then it gapped up and moved its thing. Now, this would have indicated that it was trying to come back around. But you remember I said to you all yesterday, I think it was, that these big wicks, these long wicks, were showing that it was trying to go up some more, though there wasn't a lot of buying that happened. I told you these long wicks were an indication that it was trying to happen. We're trying to make it go. Let me see if I can get this in the right place. There we go. And move it out some more. There was an opening gap from Tuesday to Wednesday. Tuesday to Wednesday. We looked at our things there. What trades we got going? What trades did we get in yesterday? Yep, AS is over 5,000, so SPX will likely hit it today. I agree with that. Rasta, put that Bakeless protein balls, put that into the chat for me. ARM IP is below 45. ARM, they doing an IPO? Let's see what ARM is. Is that Arm and Hammer? You know what? That was what was probably in that. I kept looking at that arm and thinking, it says arm holder. Maybe that's Arm and Hammer. I kept looking at that and wondering what it was on the earnings, but maybe that's what it was the Arm and Hammer. All right, let's do earnings. Yesterday, we had PayPal. What just says ARM? We had PayPal, Disney, Aftermarket yesterday. ARM, Win, Excelis, Paycom, Mattel, and then O'Reilly. McKesson and O'Reilly, Confluent. This morning, we've got ConocoPhillips, Spirit, Kamiko, Hershey's, Tapestry, Lincoln, and Under Armour. Okay, can we all see? Yes, we can. I'm not sure why you're doing that. Aftermarket, today we got Affirm. Now, Affirm had been on a little bit of a ride. We're going to look at Affirm's chart. I'm definitely not going to suggest that anybody jump into um, any earnings trades, but Affirm is one that had been on a decent little ride. Pinterest is here, Cloudflare, which falls into the tech space. Expedia, Dexcom, Clearvision, maybe that is. Billy.com, T2, Illumina, and PetMeds. And people order stuff for they order pet meds. They order meds for their pets. I took SPX and Sim trying to ride the high up to 5K. Okay, good move. ARM is a part of the semiconductor space, is it? Why did I'm thinking about ARM and Hammer? Who's ARM and Hammer? Are they separate or are they under somebody else? You saw me, I went straight to ARM and Hammer. I did T triple Q still in. Your T triple Q may be ready to close. If you did T triple Q, it may be ready to close. ARM is a part of the semiconductor space. That is interesting. Okay, let's go to, I didn't mean to remove it. What Adams numbers? All day, Monday and Tuesday, SPX base for a breakout rally, 49.98 was yesterday's final target. Profit take point, and we hit 5,000 high of the day and sold. Now, time for messy action. Plan today, 49.89 is support. Must reclaim fast to resume 49.98 plus direct. If it fails, then we sell to 49.79 and 49.70 are the first down. Okay. If you're doing XSP, that 500 is the call. I would probably go maybe one more, maybe 501, because once it hits 500, it may move. And then 497 is your puts area. So if you're looking at SPX or XSP, these could be some outside numbers for you to contend with or concern with. Okay. Let's see, Janae, if you entered SPX yesterday, unless it was a 0 DT, even if it was in your sim, if you have it, then if it's still on, then you can turn it off today. But if you did 0 DTE, it would have closed last night. T triple Q, AMD, QCOM, DPZ. What is DPZ? Okay, I don't know what DPZ is. Let me go back to the stage and see what is. Come on, keep up. What is DPZ? Domino's Pizza. Oh, 425 Domino's, no better. I worked for Domino's when I was in college. It was a good and not so good experience, only because the guy who was my boss, well, who owned the place, was a jerk. The guy who was my boss was actually very nice, but the guy who owned the place was a jerk. And that got to be a problem. At the time I worked at Domino's as a pizza driver, I was also working at the funeral home as a driver. So I had this one experience. Some of y'all might have heard this story that I drove for the funeral home, and I drove the family car. So these people, they were all adults. Their father had passed away, and he had passed away in another state. So then they came down to do they came down to do like to bury their father in Tuskegee. I went to Tuskegee, by the way. They came down to bury their father in Tuskegee. So this was like a second funeral for them. All of their family and friends were up north, but they came to do another funeral around his family in the south, and they were burying. So I drove them, and they were like, usually in the car, you're supposed to drive all somber and keep the music off and just drive quietly, and you just like you're not present, you're like invisible. Well, we were driving, they were like, turn on the radio. It's too quiet in here. Turn on some music. So I was like, I'm not supposed to play the music. They were like, well, we can say play the music. Go ahead and play. So I played the music, and we were going to the funeral, to the service. I drove them there and drove them back. Well, later that day, I had to work at Domino's. I had to work as a driver at Domino's. So um I had gone to deliver a pizza, and when I came back, they were all sitting. This whole family was sitting outside the Domino's in these chairs, like they were waiting for their pizza. And so I got out of the car, and they were like, "Well, dog, you drive for everybody." They're like, "You drive for everybody." I was like, "Well, got to get it how you live." I was a student trying to I was a student try to make my few little coins as a driver. So I actually wanted to be a funeral. I wanted to be a funeral director at one time, and I almost quit engineering school so I could go be a funeral home director. And my daddy was like, no, you're gonna finish this degree that's already paid for on scholarship before you jump off to the next thing." So I finished. I finished my engineering degree, and I never did go to funeral home school. Never did go to funeral home school. Okay, so let's see. I see comments happening in the chat. I used to eat it a lot growing up. Domino's Pizza. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually didn't mind working there. It wasn't a bad place to work. It was one of the few restaurants in Tuskegee. Tuskegee is a college town, and there was only a few restaurants that delivered. There was other restaurants there, but most of them didn't deliver. Domino's Pizza did deliver, so that a lot of students would buy pizza because you could get it delivered. And a lot of students don't have cars. So you had 427 call credit spread, Tanya. Yeah, that's definitely would have been backwards. You probably should have done a put credit spread. Did you get it mixed up? Sounds like it. I took SPX and SIM and really red. I must have done something wrong. Everything else is green, but that one loss wiped out my entire You said you took it out in SIM. If you did it in SIM, then you shouldn't. Non-collie. What a lovely lesson to learn in SIM. Yes. Um, to do a vertical, I was still in Starbucks and was exercised 100 shares at $94, closing both legs this morning. I learned a lot about dividends and spreads today. All right, Kat. Make sure that if you're doing spreads and you're on the put side and it breaches you you can close it anytime you want. If you close it before expiration, then you don't have to worry about getting assigned or none of those, or exercise or assigned or none of those things, because you closed the trade before market, because all the exercising and assigning happens after market. So if you close things before the market closes, you don't have to worry about those things. All right. All righty. We were looking at I'm going back to where I was. And now that I've given my story. Share screen. Just screen. Allow. Okay, we looked at Domino's Pizza. That's what got us off on the story time. Hopefully you had a PCS, because a PCS, I mean, there's a lot of indecision here, and that's a very long wick at the top. But there's support at 416. There's a support again down here at, well, maybe. Let me see. Yep, there's support here in this area too at 411. Why did I put that on? 414 has one as well. 416, 414, and 411. I'm thinking Domino's is probably a 2.5 spread. Probably a 2.5 spread. Come on, Cletus. I had USO yesterday. I ended up having to close it. I had USO for $13. It was going to expire yesterday. I ended up having to close it because it breached the 69. The 69 got breached. So it was like 69.35. I have to look and see what it actually closed at. I ended up spending or paying $39 to exit. I had received 13. So it was a loss of $26, which would have been better than a max loss. It was right at the end of the day. I was going to look at Domino's Pizza. I'll go back to it. USO closed yesterday. Did it close at 70? Yep, it's a good thing I got out when I did, because my whole thing would have been breached if I had waited. Maybe it's at $70 now. What was the close of yesterday? It closed at 69.42 yesterday. I exited when it was at 69.35. So I end up spending, like I said, I spent $40 to exit, but I had received 13. So that means I had a $26 loss. I actually put that into our Telegram group. If you look into the Telegram group, I have a running list of maybe somewhere. Here it goes. Our list of trades for the week. I put them here of what's happened so far. T triple Q, I closed it yesterday. TSM, I closed it yesterday. Tesla, I closed it. USO, I end up closing it for $39. I don't know if I can edit this. Yep. Close it for $39. I received 13. So that was a $26 loss. And I have some trades over in Robinhood. That Palantir we looked at yesterday morning is over in Robinhood. It's actually about ready. I think it showed like a $9 profit. It probably can be closed today. And the INTC is also over in Robinhood. Can we look at T triple Q? Yes, ma'am. I'm asking because I got SIM and we've been wiped out before too. I learned how to put a stop in for 1.5. 1.5 extra credit is good. It may hit if you, depending on SPX, you may get it. It may hit, but cause especially if you got something like $25 is your money you received. 1.5 of that is like $30, $40. Yeah, right. So 1.5 puts it at $50, $60. That you don't really give yourself a lot of room with the 1.5. You might want to consider, Tanya, not investment advice, but you might want to consider making it at least 2x. PCS on T triple Q. Okay, let's look at it. 49.20 put sale. So I did a 49.10.20. Okay. How do you do that, Tanya? Okay, Tanya can work you through that. Let's go out of here and go look at T triple Q. You've got a put credit spread, Tanya? I mean, not Tanya, Lady T. That should be ready. You got 54.5 put credit spread. That thing is done. It's at $58. It should be done. You should be ready to close that put credit spread on T triple Q today. Again, Thursday is another good day to enter credit spreads because you're going to exit tomorrow. So what you want to look though, you can't get greedy with the premiums. So just know that you only have one day to stay in the trade. So still look for your 10%, right? Look for at least 10% return on some stuff. Or if there's something like if you maybe you're so two options. One of them is to look for a new trade per se and get at least 10%. The other one is to look at trades you already have going and get on the other side. And when I say the other side, like say Lady T said she has a put credit spread on T triple Q. If she wanted to, she could go look for a call credit spread area that she believes it won't surpass by tomorrow at expiration, and that's going to use the same collateral, right? So if you've got a put credit spread that you use $50 and you add a call credit spread, you're going to use that same $50. You don't have to add any new money. All right. So that's what you can do on Thursdays is look at how do I maybe get on the other side of what I already have. Okay, that's a thought. Again, not investment advice, but it's a way to capitalize on your collateral. All right. Lady T, I was considering an iron condor, but it looks like it's going to keep going. Yes. So we had something yesterday. I think it was SOXL we talked about where we said uh, 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 iron condor might be a good idea. We looked at this yesterday. So because where we are, we could say, okay, we can do a call credit spread and even see how it's staying in this zone. If you got in on one side, maybe you did the put side first, and then you see that the price is really not running up like that, and you don't have any desire or no thoughts that it's going to do that, you can go ahead and get on the put credit spread side of something that's staying in a zone, right? You don't want to necessarily pick something that's running hard in one direction. That may not be the best move. But if you got something that's kind of lingering, then that may be an option for you. Okay. I think somebody said AMD, which is another one that's kind of lingering in a zone. It's got a little downward ride as far as this goes, but this gap is about filled. That one is too almost. A little bit of a gap here. No. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. And then we can bring it in closer. Boop, there's the gap there, and we can pull this out here. AMD, if I was looking at AMD for a trade, we've got the support down here at 165, and you've got resistance at 178, and you've also got resistance at the top of this gap. Top of this, that's at 174. Let's go look at AMD. Do I have it here? I think I did have AMD in one of my trades. I think I entered it last week, and it hasn't been ready to close yet. This is AMD. The market's getting ready to open. 165, I said, and then 174. Ding, ding, ding. I just heard it. Let's see what kind of money is on AMD. I think AMD is a 2.5 strat though, because it's gotten high enough here to be a 2.5, and the 176 on 67.5 is the 71%. Maybe go down to 165, which is where we saw the support. And if you're looking on the top side, go up to 175, which is where we saw resistance. So if you were looking, I'm going to just look at the iron condor just in the middle. If you're looking at 165 and 175, I'm only putting this in for the full iron condor. Let's say you were going with the call. This is 175. Don't do it this way because it can be confusing to put in the pieces. And for the put 165, 162.5, you would actually show this it's upside down. Let me see what I've done. I've done something wrong. Okay, 177.5 because it should be red. There we go. If you're doing iron condor on AMD at 175 and 165, you're collecting $62 total. But you want to enter those one at a time. I don't generally enter enter iron condors all at one time. I don't do that. Okay, so iron condor, if you want to think about entering those separately, let me go. The 165 is going to pull in $33. That's over 10% return on that money. And 175 is also pulling in $32. I have SOXL put credit spread and IN. I don't think I have SOXL. Let me take that back. I have INTC. Just waiting on some more stuff to close. My Google trade must be breached because it's at $45. I put my close orders in before they get ready to close so I can see what's the status of the trade. This is a good way for me to take a look at what's actually happening in the trade without going to each of these as far as the charts go. Okay, let's go see what SPX is doing. See how we opened up the market. Come on. It's like it opened up like it did yesterday, right around the same spot where it closed. It closed yesterday at $49.94 and it opened in around that same spot, $49.95 and some change. That's what's going on there. What else did somebody else had one more in here we're going to look at real quick before we go ahead and go. Oh, Starbucks. Starbucks is currently at $94.75. Oh, you mentioned Starbucks. Somebody else had 2 or 3. That was with the Domino's. Qualcomm. There we go. That's the one I wanted to look at. Didn't Qualcomm have earnings the other day? Qualcomm is at 146.67 or 146.70. If we were looking at a trade back to the daily chart, definitely would go with a put credit spread. It closed this gap here. There was a gap between these two. I would go with the put credit spread probably around 143. Let's see what Qualcomm has on the single chart. 143 is a 89% probability of the money. You could go at 144. It's a one spread. If we did 144, it's collecting $11. Okay. I want you to know that the premiums that you're taking in, they add up. Okay. These premiums add up. So $10, $11, da 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 da. Just know that they're adding up. All righty. So you don't have to feel like it's only $10. You keep doing it. And when you're ready, if you like a stock and you're ready for more, then add more contracts or, do different stocks. You can do different stocks or you can do more contracts. Okay, BA, I believe is Boeing. I was going to say Bank of America, but they have a C on theirs. At this point, looks like Boeing is trying to come out of the druthers. Right? I would look here I'd watch that there's a resistance here just above where it is at 213, but support is down in 205. 205 and 213. I probably would go with it's close enough to the proximity of the call credit spread that you're going to get better money up here. If you went out 215, you're going to get better money up there. So let's see what the call credit spread looks like. What would be a good place? It's a plus minus 3.9. So we want to add 4 to this. Add 4 to this would be like 217. It's a 2.5 spread. So 217, 83%, 217.5. 217.5 is paying $25. That's right at 10% return on your money. Okay, if you were going to do the call credit spread, you're going to get better money there than you are from the put credit spread. But our tendency is to want to do the put credit spread too, because we can see that the price is moving up, but it's moving right up into a zone. So if 217 is above that, 217 and some change is above, actually it's at the top of this gap. So that's good too, because that top of that gap is also going to provide resistance. Okay. Let me wrap up so I can go. I'm giving a test today. Did y'all know that? I'm giving a test today. I don't know if they read it, but we giving a test today. Let's do our declaration. I declare I'm a great trader. I declare I'm a successful trader. I declare I am a focused trader. I declare my wins exceed my losses. My account is growing more and more each week. I am a wise and knowledgeable trader. I always make smart and lucrative decisions for my portfolio. I declare I'm a level-headed trader who does not trade my emotions. Lord, it is you who gives us the power to get wealth. You teach our hands to war with the purpose of establishing your kingdom. Help us today to trade wisely and strategically in order to fulfill this purpose. Give us more than enough so we can have what we need and enough to be a blessing to others. In Jesus' name, amen. 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 Okay. Anybody got a question or anything before we wrap it up? No, we're good. Please continue if you're in the small account challenge. Oh, I meant to mention last night. Jamie did the small account challenge and our regular weekly training last night. I hope you didn't miss it. I put it in all the chats. If you did, the link for it, I probably need to go grab the link and put it into the chats so that way you can see the replay if you wanted to see the replay. Be sure to continue to add your trades to our spreadsheet, right? I do see people are using the spreadsheet, but continue. If you haven't started, then start. If you have started, continue. Thank you. If you are someone who is in the small account challenge and you have yet to move forward in the sim or any place, then you need to, raise your hand and reach out so we can get you to figure out what's going on and we can get you started. Alrighty. If you're in the small account challenge and you have yet to pick a trade, start a trade in your sim or otherwise, for whatever reason, then reach out so we can help you get moving. The whole point of this challenge is that you do the spread so that you get into some experience, okay? And you can't do that if you don't do that. All right. All right. In this community, we do two things. We stay green and we get this money. I want you to have a great green day, and I will see you in the market and see you in the chat. All right. Bye, everyone.